Hi, I'm Ami Norton, a yoga teacher here in Frankfurt and TINT ambassador. I'm really excited to bring you this post-workout yoga class today that you can use anytime you've done a workout. So whether it's a run or CrossFit or HIIT training, we'll be working on stretching out all of the most important parts of the body that you will have used in your workout. And at the end, we'll have some time to relax as well to get the mind back to its center. So we're going to start in a seated position. Just sit back on your heels. The feet are long. Bring your hands to your thighs and just roll the shoulders back once to open the chest. Pull the belly button inwards and upwards so that the ribs don't flare out too much. And then bring the weight forward, lift the hips, tuck the toes and bring the weight back again. So we're going to start with our feet right at the bottom. I know this is an intense pose for a lot of people, so just make sure that you distribute the weight as you need it. Again, pulling the belly button in and upwards. Make sure that all of your 10 toes are on the mat. The pinky toe tends to try and run away there. And then just close your eyes and take 5 deep breaths. If you notice that your attention starts to drift, come back to the breath. Feel how the soles of the feet are opening up. It's an area that we often forget about. And I promise the more you do this, the less intense it will be, or the more you'll get used to it. One more deep breath. Okay, and then slowly bring the weight back forward. Hands to the mat. Come into a normal tabletop position. Now release the toes and just give the tops of the feet a little tap. It's always fun after that one. Okay, and now straighten your right leg. Set the toes down and just push the heel back to open up the back of the knee. The shoulders stay forward so that you're really pushing from the heel. Feel how the calf also starts to open here. We'll go into that a bit more in a moment. And then slowly set the right knee down. Let's straighten the left leg now. Set the toes, all 5 toes on the mat, and then press the heel back while you push the crown of your head forward. The shoulders stay forward. Deep breaths. Pull the belly button to the spine. Good. And then slowly release. Set the left knee down. Now tuck both toes. On your inhale, lift the chest. Pull the belly long so you start to feel a stretch in the abdomen. And then on your exhale, push the hands into the mat and round the spine. Push the shoulder blades apart. Inhale, lift the chest. And exhale, round. One more time. Inhale, lift. And exhale, push. So inhale, come back to this cow position, lift the chest, pull the belly long. You want to tilt your pelvis forward so that the sitting bones, they're these bones right here at the bottom of the buttocks, they go back and upwards. We're going to need that in a moment when we come into our downward facing dog. So now lift the chest, pull the belly long, tilt the pelvis forward, start to push the hips back and upwards, lift the knees and push yourself into your first downward facing dog. Your hands are nice and active at the front of the mat. The fingers are spread, the fingertips pressing into your mat. Now slowly start to push one heel to the ground and then switch to the other heel. So you're taking your dog for a little walk. Nice and slow, and feel how the backs of the legs start to open, especially the calves. Your shoulders stay nice and straight. Good, and then slowly return to center. Lift both heels far up off the mat. Bend the knees and start to push the sitting bones backwards and upwards. So you feel a curve in the lower spine. Your hands are pushing away from the front of the mat. Shoulders and arms are nice and active. And allow the spine to get nice and long. If you then want to start to push the heels down towards the mat, you can do, but make sure you keep the curve in the lower spine. 3 deep breaths here. One last deep breath. And then slowly start to walk towards the front of your mat. Take your time. You can bend the knees as much as you need to. Okay, and when you get to the front of your mat, bring your feet hip width apart. Spread the toes and place the toes nice and spread on your mat so that you've got a really nice, stable base there. Bend the knees as much as you need to get your fingertips down to the mat. And now walk the hands a little bit further out to the front. Not so much that you need to shift your weight, but just enough to create length in the spine. With the knees still bent, tip the pelvis forward, the sitting bones lift, and now lift the chest up to the front. If the fingertips come away from the ground, that's fine. Your neck is nice and long. And then on your exhale, allow the upper body to just sink down. So inhale, lift the chest, create length in the spine, and exhale, release. And the whole time, your sitting bones are pushing back and up. Let's do this wave a few more times. Good. So one last time, wave the spine up, create length. Now stay here, nice and long. The fingertips are still on the mat. Now shift your weight onto your right foot and slowly lift the left leg back and up. So we don't want to open up the hip yet. Keep the hip closed so that your toes and your kneecap are pointing down towards the mat. Now pull your spine long to the front. The crown of your head is reaching forward and your left big toe is reaching back. Shift the weight now into your right heel and you'll feel that the stretch in the back of your right leg will get a little bit more intense. Keep breathing. I know it's intense, but breathe through it. One more deep breath. The weight in the right heel. Okay, and then slowly start to lower the left foot to the back of your mat. Okay, bring the hands with you and then set the left knee down. Okay, let's untuck the toes this time. Push all of the toes into the mat at the back. And at the front, again, spread the right toes. Push your big toe down, push your heel down, and then rise up. Bring your hands onto the front thigh and just roll the shoulders back just to open the chest for now. So now leave the right hand on your thigh. Your thumb is on the inside, your fingers are on the outside. And you want to pull the right shoulder backwards here. Okay, so that you're opening the chest. On the next inhale, lift your left arm up towards the ceiling. Push the fingertips away from you. Pull the shoulder up towards your ear. And on your exhale, lean over to the right for a side bend. Okay, you want to relax the right shoulder so that you're not causing a cramp in your neck. Pull the belly button inwards and upwards. Just take a few breaths here to just get into the pose. At the front, make sure your foot is nice and grounded. And if you want to go a bit further, bring your left hand to the back of your head. Pull the elbow in towards your face. And now start to press the head back into your hand while you're going into your side bend. So you'll feel that the stretch in your left hip flexor will get a little bit more intense. And the stretch in your side body as well. For those that need a little bit more intensity, you're going to push the top of your left foot into the mat and then slowly straighten the left leg, lifting the knee up off the ground. Okay? Wherever you are, breathe into your left side body, breathe into the left hip flexor. One last deep breath, push the back of the left thigh up towards the ceiling, nice and strong. And then slowly release the knee if you've got it lifted. Come back to the center, release the left arm. And now bring both hands back to the mat. Ooh, okay, that was intense. Let's go to the other side. We're going to push the hips back now and go into the right hamstring. So we're coming into a half split. I like to tuck the toes at the back here. It's a bonus stretch through the sole of your foot. Leave a micro bend in the front knee. What we want to do here is really flex the right foot and spread the toes apart. So now, start to pull your left knee and your right heel towards one another. As if you wanted to close the legs, but the mat's in the way. Once you've got this feeling that the legs are pulling towards one another, then you can start to tilt the pelvis forward, just like we did in our downward facing dog, and pushing the sternum, your breastbone, forward. The neck is nice and long. Hold here. Notice what's going on in the back of the right thigh. Some of us will be feeling this in the calf, some of us in the hamstrings. Just take note. Okay, one deep breath. So, our foundation is going to stay exactly the same. We're just going to move the upper body. So you're going to take the hands to the outside of your right leg. Now, allow your chest to open up to the right. We're going to create a diagonal line in the spine. And now it's the same principles that we had in the half split. The front foot is flexed. The legs are pulling towards one another to close the hip. And we're reaching forward with the sternum. You might feel that the stretch has now changed position. Now maybe it's more in the outer edge of the leg. Now we're getting into those IT bands. Great stretch for anyone that likes to run. One more deep breath. And now come back to the front, back to the center, bend the right knee. Now we're going to take the hands inside the right foot and open the right foot out towards the edge of the mat. Turn the knee and the toes outwards, about 45 degrees. And now place the left hand to the left edge of your mat. So your hand's facing outwards, your foot is facing outwards in the other direction. Now your right hand to your right thigh. Let's untuck the toes at the back. Roll the right shoulder and now open the chest up to the right for a nice twist of the spine. Make sure that your big toe at the front is pushing into the mat so we're not falling onto the outer edge, but really grounding down through the sole of the foot. Then open the chest up to the side and breathe. So some of us are going to stay here. For others, you might want to roll forward with the back knee and then pull the left heel in towards the buttocks. Grab the outer edge of your left foot. We want to grab the outer edge so that you maintain this opening in the chest. And once you have your foot, push the foot into the hand pulls the foot at the same time so that you create a little bit more stretch. We want to be nice and active in our stretch rather than passive. So really push that foot into the hand. Okay, one more deep breath. And then slowly release. Both hands back to the front of the mat. Now take the right foot back to the center. It's okay if it feels a little bit rusty. Lift up the left knee and now walk around to the left with your hands so that you come into a wide-legged forward fold facing the left side of your mat. Make sure that both of your feet are parallel, that they aren't too far apart. And now slowly start to bend the left knee. So we're not going to turn the foot out like Skandasana. We're going to stay a little bit higher. So keep the feet parallel and make sure your knee is pointing forwards. At the same time, push the outer edge of the right foot into the mat without losing that right big toe. Okay? So now you can start to walk out to the front with your hands, come onto your fingertips, and at the same time, push the hips backwards and the sitting bones upwards. Your pelvis is tilting forward just like in our downward facing dog. You want to have the feeling that if you were to release the fingertips, you'd fall backwards. I've never seen it happen, so don't worry. But you really want this feeling of pushing the hips back. And then you can start to allow the chest to sink down towards the mat. So you get a bonus opening in the shoulders, in the side body. One more deep breath. And then start to walk the hands back towards you. Then bring the hips back to the center and slowly turn your feet back towards the front of the mat. The hands come back to your right foot and now take a big step forward into your forward fold. Bring your feet here again, hip width apart. Really bend the knees now and just allow the body to sink down. Grab the elbows and just give yourself a moment to ragdoll. Allow the entire back body, the posterior chain, to be pulled downwards into the stretch. The neck is nice and soft. The jaw muscles too. Nice. So now release the arms. You're going to walk the fingertips out to the front again. Not too far, just enough so you can create the length in the spine. Shift the weight onto your left foot and now slowly lift the right leg back and up. Again, don't throw the hip open, but keep it nice and close. You want both of your hip bones to be on one level. Your kneecap and your toenails are pointing down towards the floor. At the same time, push the crown of your head forward. Create the longest line that you can and then shift the weight into the left heel. You'll really notice a difference there. If you come to the toes, you'll notice that the stretch in the back of the leg will be less intense. If you bring the weight into the heel, you'll really feel that fire starting up in the back of your leg. Okay? And breathe into the chest. Okay, and then slowly set the foot down at the back of the mat. Take the hands with you. Place the knee down. Your foot is nice and long again. Okay. Press the left heel into the mat. Press the big toe into the mat and then come up. To low lunge. So your left hand now to the left thigh. The fingers are on the outside, the thumb on the inside. And then on your inhale, lift up your right arm towards the sky, create length in the right side body, pull the shoulder up towards the ear. And then inhale, on your exhale, lean over to the left for a side stretch. You'll notice that as soon as you move the upper body over towards the side, the stretch in your hip flexor will become a bit more intense. If you want to have a little bit more stretch, hand to the back of your head, pull the elbow into the face. Make sure that your neck stays nice and straight. Now start to push the head back into the hand. The hand pulls forward so that you stay in the middle, but you create more of an opening in the chest. And then the last step, push the top of the right foot into the mat and really straighten that back leg. You really want to press the back of the thigh up towards the ceiling so that you're not hanging in the knee. Use the strength of your thigh to create stability here. Two more breaths. One more. Slowly release the knee first, then straighten the right arm up and bring both hands down towards the mat. Okay, tuck the toes at the back, push the hips backwards towards the back of your mat. We don't want to let the hips sink down to the heel here, but keep the hips right on top of the right knee. This will allow you to now pull the legs towards one another. Again, we've got this nice micro bend in the front leg. The foot is flexed and your toes are spread. You can pull the fingertips backwards. That will help you to tip the pelvis and reach your breastbone forward. Next long. I know there's a temptation to throw the head backwards, but really try and keep that length in the spine. Okay, so maintain this foundation, this stable base, and slowly start to move your hands to the outside of your left leg. Okay, again, you're going for this diagonal line with the spine over towards the left. Keep the foot flexed. Make sure the foot doesn't fall out to the side too much, but stays straight. And then once you get here, pull the legs towards one another once again. Tip the pelvis and push your sternum forward. And if your toes are doing a little shake like mine, that's fine. It's an intense stretch. Good. Now slowly return to the front. Bend the left knee. Okay. Move the left foot outwards towards the edge of your mat and bring the left arm to the inside. Your right hand comes to the edge of the mat. Again, turned out, the fingers are nice and spread. Push this hand into the mat to create space in the right shoulder and bring your left hand to your thigh. Fingers are on the outside, the thumb is on the inside. Now roll the shoulder backwards. You can really take a hold of the thigh and rotate it away from you. That will create a little bit more space in the hip joint. Pull the belly long, lift the chest. Take a few moments to just get into the pose here. Good, and if you want to go a step further, then you're going to roll forward with that back knee. Pull the heel in towards your buttocks and your left hand will reach back to the outer edge. So now, once you've got that foot, push the foot into your hand. You pull at the same time, and again, that not only helps to deepen the stretch in the hip flexor, in the quadriceps, but also to really open the chest. Often, after we've done a workout, we take a long time to stretch out the legs, but we forget the upper body. So really enjoy this opening in the pecs, in your bicep, in the abdominals. One last deep breath. And slowly release. Bring your hand back to the front. Going to bring the left foot back to the center. Pick up that back knee, and now you're going to turn over your right shoulder for a wide-legged forward fold to the right side of your mat. Again, make sure the feet are parallel and in one long line. Bend the knees as much as you need to here. Now slowly start to bend the right knee. At the same time, you're pushing the outer edge of your left foot into the mat without losing the left big toe, so that we don't overstretch the ankle here. Your fingertips come forward, your hips go back. Again, you really want to have this feeling that your weight is shifting backwards. Tip the pelvis forward so that the sitting bones come upwards, and then allow the chest to sink down between your hands and your hips. If you feel like you can open up a little bit more, then go for it. Sometimes just need a few breaths to really find where the body is in that moment, in this pose. Okay. Good, and then slowly bring the hands back in. Walk towards your left foot. Turn the feet. Now plant the hands down and push yourself back into a downward facing dog. Okay, take a moment to just take your dog for a walk. Push the heels to the mat, one after the other. Move the hips. Allow the lower back to loosen. Okay, and then come back to the center slowly. Allow the knees to sink down to the mat, come into your tabletop. So now we're going to open the knees a little bit wider. You can bring your big toes together if you want. Push the hips back into a child's pose, but we're not going to bring the hands back to the feet as you might see traditionally. This time we're going to sink the head down. If you need to put a block or a book underneath your head, then that's fine. Sink the head down and bring the hands together. So kind of coming into an Anjali Mudra at the front of your mat. Pull the elbows in towards your temples. And now slowly start to bend the arms and bring the hands to the back of your head. Okay, it could be that this is enough stretch for you. If you need a bit more, you can push the elbows further forward so that the stretch really goes into the outer shoulders. Allow the hips to just relax here. For those who want to go even further or have a lot of openness in the shoulders already, you can walk forward with your elbows so that your hips come up above the knees and then press the buttocks back. Allow your breastbone to sink towards the mat. One more deep breath. And then slowly straighten the arms again. Place the hands down and push yourself back up to a tabletop position. Okay. Now bring the knees hip width apart. Do one last shoulder stretch. On the inhale, lift up your right arm to the ceiling. And on your exhale, thread the arm underneath to the left side and set the shoulder down on the middle of your mat, okay? So allow your head to just rest on the mat, that's fine. You want to have more weight on your shoulder than on your head. There's hardly any weight on your head actually. So really make sure that you're pressing the shoulder and the back of your right hand into the mat. You want to be active in this pose. Don't just want to passively fall into the shoulder joint. So now pushing with your right arm against the mat, you have the option to open up your left arm to the ceiling, rotate the hand backwards, and then fold the arm behind your back. Maybe you'll grab the thigh, maybe not. But now you have a nice opening in the front of the left shoulder. Take the time to breathe here. The whole time you're pushing your sitting bones back and up to create length in the spine. One more breath. First, release the left hand. Place it back to the mat. Push yourself away. Let's open up the right arm for a nice counter stretch. And then place the right hand down to the mat. Second side, left arm up. And then thread the arm through to the right side. Place the shoulder down around the middle of the mat. And again, make sure that the majority of your weight is on your left shoulder, not on the head. Place the head down, but without too much pressure. So you're going to press the back of your left hand into the mat, nice and active, so that you're not falling into the shoulder joint. Push the hips back and up, belly button to spine. And then you have the option here too, to open up your right arm to the ceiling, rotate the hand backwards, and then fold the arm behind your back. Again, maybe you'll grab the thigh, maybe not. And use this as kind of a lever to roll the right shoulder back. One last deep breath. So now release the right arm first. Place the right hand back to the mat. We're going to circle the left arm just like we did on the right side, just to release. And slowly set the left hand down. So now push the hips back. You can swing your legs to one side to come to sit. Place the feet down, and I like to just use a windshield wiper to move my hips towards the front of the mat. So you just let the knees fall from one side to the other and use that to move the hips forward. Good. Once you reach the front of your mat, place the feet down, hold on behind your thighs, and slowly you can round the spine here, pull the belly button towards the spine, allow the pelvis to roll slowly down towards your mat. This is the part you've been waiting for, I know. So once you get there, leave the feet on the mat and then just bend your right knee and bring the right knee into the chest. The foot is flexed. Now you're going to bring the outer ankle onto the top of your left thigh. Okay? So you're kind of creating a figure 4 with your legs. Use the right hand to just push the right thigh away from you. It's just an impulse to encourage the leg to go into this external rotation. Once you've got that, grab with both hands behind your left thigh, okay? And you're going to pull the legs towards you. At the same time, push the tailbone down towards the mat. So we're not rolling the whole pelvis up, but creating length in the lower spine. At the same time, imagine you were still pushing the right thigh away from you for the external rotation. Your head, your neck, your shoulders are nice and relaxed. Feel the opening in your right glutes. Another area we tend to forget. Good. And then slowly release the hands. Leave the legs as they are for now. Set the left foot down. Now allow your right leg to come over the left leg. So it's like crossing your legs as if you were kind of sitting, having a chat with your friends. Open the arms to the sides. Now just shift the hips over to the right on your mat a little bit. Just the hips. And then allow the knees and the legs to fall towards the left side for a supine twist. So if this variation is too much with the legs crossed, then you can uncross the legs at any time. And for a little bonus stretch, your right arm can open a little bit further upwards. So it's like a diagonal line away from your head. And this will encourage the stretch to go more into the chest muscles, into the pecs. And the whole time you're just letting your right shoulder melt towards the mat. One last breath here. And then slowly bring the legs back to the center. Use the left foot to push the hips back to the middle of the mat, and then allow your right foot to come back down. So now you're going to pull your left knee in, flex the foot, the outer ankle comes to your right thigh. Again, just use the left hand to push the leg away from you, just to create some space in the hip joint. And then when you're ready, interlace the fingers behind your right thigh, pull the legs towards you, keep the left foot flexed, and at the same time, you're pushing your tailbone down to the mat. So you're going to create kind of a little curve in the back, in the lower back. And again, imagine you were still pressing your right hand into your left thigh to create this external rotation. Take a few breaths here to just feel the stretch in your left glutes. And then slowly release the hands, set the right foot down, allow the left leg to cross over the right leg, lift the hips, push them over to the left, and then slowly allow your knees to fall over to the right side. Okay, your arms can open up to the side like this, or again, like we did on the other side, if you want to, open your left arm a little bit further upwards so you create a diagonal line, just to get an extra stretch there in the chest muscles. Allow your knees to get heavy on the right side. No need to push, to pull. Just allow gravity to do its work. Good. And then slowly come back to the center. Again, bring the hips back to the middle of the mat. Place the feet on the ground. Just take a moment to bring your head, your hips, your shoulders in one long line. Straighten the legs out. As important as it is that we take the time to stretch our muscles after a workout, it's also important to just take the time to center the mind. So just close the eyes now. Allow all of your muscles to relax. Just give your body a few moments to internalize all that you've done with it today. Slowly start to deepen the breath. Begin to wiggle your fingers, your toes. And then allow these movements to get bigger and bigger. If you want to, you can take a nice stretch. And then when you're ready, just pull the knees in, roll to any side you like. Use the hands to come up to sit. Bring the hands in front of your heart. Namaste.